50 years ago, the original Industrial Light and Magic team set up shop in Van Nuys, California, to build the studio filming miniatures for Star Wars. At this year's Wonderfest, Modelmakers gathered to pay tribute to those ILM legends with a faithful recreation of that Van Nuys model shop, transporting Star Wars fans back to 1976. So I'm here with Quincy, one of the organizers of this incredible Van Nuys 76 project. Quincy, we're in 1976.
Yeah, and it was free. No time machines, we're just here.
Tell me about the origins of this project.
I think anybody who's been a scale modeler has thought about this place, has seen these pictures, has dreamed of. I think it's funny, some kids play with action figures and say, I'm Luke Skywalker. A lot of us scale modelers are looking at these photos and go, I want to be that modeler. And they'll take their tools and think about, how am I going to get this little piece into there? How am I going to paint this? And we've seen these pictures. And in the background, we would see, oh, they've got a bunch of models. Oh, they've got a hacksaw over there and a vise. And we're like, it would be great to be in that space. And we've all dreamed about this and how one day we could be here actually in the real flesh doing this. And me, Jason, several of us have always joked like, let's do a one-to-one scale model. We always do these smaller scales. Let's do something bigger. And I think maybe a year and a half ago, we thought the 50 year is coming up. But the actual 50 year for the model shop would be 1 year before that. And we started thinking, we got this room, let's try to do this. We realized this room is a little small. The actual model shop itself was like 20 by 40, 20 by 20. So we started researching and figuring out, how can we get the best of little vignettes? Set up a workbench over here, set out the table that everybody knows over here, get a cart that you see 10 to 4 are always rolling in on. How can we get all these things in one room? And we started boiling, plating it, and figuring out how the walls could be easier to assemble, how we could get a concrete floor into a hotel conference room.
That's what people don't realize, that we are just in the standard hotel conference room, carpeted floors, but you've built infrastructure to have them move this in less than a day and make this feel like a garage workshop.
Yeah. So for my background is structural engineering. I'm always drawing, I'm always thinking about how are things put together. So I really loved this challenge of figuring out, how do the walls come up? How can they be stable? The hotel did not want us to damage anything. So everything, the walls are freestanding, the floors are just plywood that come up. Well, we figured out how to make this stable, how to make it strong, how to tell our friends to be able to take it down at my garage where I built it first, put it back up here, and I had to think of IKEA, like how do things break down? What's the easy instructions that we all can follow and understand how things go together?
I like the false background, that forced perspective in the back. You're getting half the space, but even at half the space, it's a small space. Like you're getting a much, even being here now,
it's rich.
It's intimate.
Yes.
So talk about the recreation then, because there's an amount of fidelity that you want to get in the actual models themselves.
Oh yeah.
But the fidelity for the room. What's period accurate? Where did you guys find the reference for what goes in the walls?
Yeah, absolutely. If you've done a studio scale model, you can go into the rabbit hole. You can jump into the nth degree. And we had we called a hunt club. If you're in this hobby, part of the love is the hunt for things, the accuracy, how far and where can I get the things that they actually use. It was no different with this project. We were on eBay. We had to learn what some of these things were called. We see things in the background. We're like, what is that? It's not that it was fuzzy. We just didn't know what the tool was called or what the brand was. And the love for the hunt just kind of kept on driving us to find these things on eBay, to talk to somebody else who might be an expert in electronics or something like that.
Did you go to the original modelers themselves, and did anyone have things in workshops that were actually from 1976?
Not 76. So Lauren did show me some necklaces that he had at the time. And I was like, I might be able to make that. Carol Bauman, who wasn't there during this period, was there later up in Marin. You'll see there's a bottle of old can of thinner. She donated that as part of this. So we got a lot of love, a lot of nice feedback from these folks, but nothing. Actually, Lauren was considering bringing one of his Kennedy boxes. But we had an abundance of Kennedy boxes, so we just felt, let's just take it here, not to trouble him.
Yeah, actual toolboxes. The model kits themselves, I'm sure that as you guys have been rebuilding the actual studio scale models, you had some of these that people already bought from eBay, the old model kits, but you keep the boxes also.
Yeah. I won't say they're commodity, but any studio scale modeler is going to have their collection of boxes.
Yeah.
And we had a Facebook group so much love came off of that. Everybody was like, how can we help? We're like, we're going to need a lot of boxes, folks. And we know our friends had these boxes. Coincidentally, Chris Binware was transforming each studio scale modeler finds out I've got way too many boxes. I got to do something different. So he finally had that transformation of getting his stuff into bins instead of boxes. And the timing was just serendipitous. He donated a lot of these boxes.
Wow.
They come from a lot of our other friends.
Yeah.
There's several other things here that won't be part of it, or just people's genuine artifacts. Some of the audio equipment is Tyler Pittman's. And he's an audiophile, and he just knew what these pieces of equipment were, where to find them, new friends, new auctions, and just how to get hold of these things, which is invaluable.
An idea is to be as immersive, not just visually, but everything from sawdust on the ground to the music you'll be playing in here is to feel like 1976, 50 years ago.
Yes, I mean we have some lacquer thinner that we crack open occasionally. I don't smoke, but I had to light several cigarettes this morning just to get the smoke and the ash and dust it around. And you wipe the table, and you're going to get something on your fingers because it's been used.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
I hate to say it, but there's some stale beer even around here too. So there's the fumes. Everybody comes out of going, that smells like my old place or something. Yeah, everybody's very familiar with these smells one way or another.
When you look at the picture now, what's the thing that you're drawn to aside from the models that you're like, okay, I know everything about this corner?
I hate to admit it, it's always, every week I find something new in there. And it's like, oh, that little thing right there, that's actually a screwdriver I looked over and I forgot about. Or that little piece of wood, it's not as thick as I thought. It's actually a little splice of wood from something else. I keep on finding things. And I think all of us who do this particular hobby keep looking, and you get fresh eyes the next day. So it's just like painting. You come back with fresh eyes, you find something. Or you're amazed by one of your friends finding something else. And you're like, I never saw it, but yes, it's obviously that. Thank you for showing me that.
And even though the photo is a moment in a very specific time, it's an era that you're kind of recreating, right? Everything, the months leading up to it, you know, and that this is what that space feels like and what it
Exactly. And in for a penny, down for a pound, I'm trying to do a little cosplay. If you look at some of the pictures there, some of these people that we admire deeply had certain styles they would wear a lot. One of them used to wear a chambray shirt a lot. Another gentleman who I'm trying to manifest here often wore these types of striped shirts. So I'm trying to get into the mood of it too.
And all the contributors as well, the whole group, everyone here who made models, you know, everyone's going to recreate that photo at some point this weekend.
We do have opportunities. As you can see, Lauren's got these channel locks. We've got these. People can pose and do the real feel as if they're there.
Oh, amazing. Jason Eaton.
Hello.
Oh my goodness. Jason, so good to see you here.
You as well.
Of course, it would be you as one of the ringleaders
What are you gonna do?
of this recreation of the model shop and spearheading the organization of all the studio scale replicas.
Yes.
I know there are many ships here, but I want to talk about X-Wings specifically, because there's X-Wings on the table, and there are castings here that you've made just to go in trash cans.
Yes, absolutely. Over the years, I have been given artifacts by some of the ILMers as they find them in their deep closet storage, and they're like, this is twisted, this is junk, do you want it? We can always get data out of it. And so I realized while we were putting this room together, conceptually, I had taken some of these artifacts to a high-resolution 3D scan service that happens to be like within 30 minutes of my home. And we had the scans, I made them watertight, warts and all, you know, they're like warped and twisted. And I was like, I'm just gonna print this. And then I purposely broke one of them in half, and so we're just gonna throw it in the trash can. So it's like, it's a delight, because that probably came out of the trash can 50 years ago.
Right, full circle. You're doing a little bit as a set decorator.
Yeah, a little meta, but
art department.
Yeah.
And it's weird because the photo is, when I was chatting with Quincy, One Direction, we are in the photo.
Oh yeah,
now. How does that feel?
Oh, it was like being in an Esper situation in Blade Runner. Like I was on this side, sort of arranging the things, and realized like, oh, this is what it looked like from their perspective. And then I felt a little giddy and, you know, lightheaded. It was very exciting. Yeah.
As a model maker of X-Wings specifically, and also many other models, you put yourself in the headspace of these guys.
When I had that Topps card as a child all those years ago, I fantasized that I, you know, could do that one day, but to sort of recreate the space and the vibe, and to, as an adult, realize that you could put yourself as close to, you know, like, it's very strange and very cool.
It's very magical. Well, I want to walk down the line and have you explain to me just what was on this workbench, specifically X-Wings, because there were 7 here?
Yeah, absolutely. So we knew that we wanted to have the X, Y, and T. There's a TIE fighter table, and if we had been planning this for years, I probably would have been silly enough to say, "I'll build them all. Don't worry about it." But we needed to crowdsource, and so I took that job on. And we have like a deep well of very talented model makers. It just so happened that everything fell together, and people did the model they were assigned to do and had a blast, and everybody learned. There were a lot of questions asked, and some guys, this is their first model. They've never done this before.
Wow.
Really, really wild to think about that. And some guys, like I made one. I clearly have made a couple X-Wings, so it was like very familiar territory. But to look at them all together, you wouldn't even really think that like something, has been made by a guy that's never made one before.
Yeah.
It's really lovely.
And so were these representative of the entire squadron? I'm noticing all the different astromechs.
Almost
the entire squad.
Yeah. So it's a combination.
In
in reality, when they shot that photo, there were a combination of pyros and heroes. Pyros, of course, being the static ones that blew up, and heroes having armatures and lights and articulation. So right there, that is Red 1.
Okay.
That is Hero Red 1, and that would have been the hero at the time. Next to it is Red 5, Hero Red 5, and
that's Luke.
That's Luke. And then we've got Red 3, which was there was a hero, but that's the pyro version of it.
And the pyro's in the photo.
No, actually, I misspoke. That is another Red 1 that that was changed to Red 3. That's the one that sold at auction. That's the surviving pyro. So we're a little loose with the history, with the sequence, but that it works for the room. And then we've got Red 3 pyro. Yes. So
the pyros would have been destroyed. And so when you talk about the reference for a surviving pyro, the one we saw at auction, like that has to be the placeholder for like you're using that reference to create the one here.
Yeah. Because it's state later in production, but that's the same. It is literally the same model. All right. So this is Red 10. As you can see, it's very interesting what they did at the time. There were 6 stripes, and then to get anything past 6, they would do a line of tape,
bisect it,
and now you've got 10. So that was a pyro. That didn't exist for very long. There's very little reference on it. So that's kind of one of those where everybody's like, oh, that's sexy because I don't know exactly what's going on.
It's a new challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and the same for Red 12. There's only 2 really good shots of the model as in the public view. I hold out hope that those other 2 angles that Richard Edlund took will surface one day. So the top is very mysterious, and the port side is very mysterious. And then there's Red 4. That is a pyro. I'd made this one mostly because the droid on Red 4 is unique. It has like a little cone head. It's a R4 droid, and I wanted to make something new to me.
Are the main bodies fundamentally from the same casting?
These are all from essentially a pyro pattern, with the exception of Red 5, which is one of my older patterns with Mike Salzo. These are all something that Mike and I did in the past year, actually. I had a pyro shell, and enough people were really clamoring for X-Wings to build. And there's 3D models out there, but of course, I'm like, we could do better. You
want a lineage to something that was in the room.
There's no lineage of the casting to an original, but it's patterned off of the original, so it's so much cleaner. I had built a casting from Dave Jones's molds, and it was so difficult to make look pretty because it was, sort of rough and ready kind of thing. That I was like, let's just start from scratch. And so everybody got to then get a casting and build a bird.
Wow.
Yeah.
I really love that, you guys opened it up to modelers of all different experiences. Someone who's built many, many X-Wings to someone who might have been their first X-Wing could do a contribution.
It's a really interesting room because we always say that none of this happens without the village of people, and this is a literal representation in a space of everyone coming together and contributing their part to put you into a shared goal, this spot. So it's really cool. And there's little things around like that Bondi 115th Hummel tank top. We nicknamed it Hummel Head. But I've always wondered what that was in the photo, that famous Topps bubblegum card photo. And then it was like, oh, that's a Hummel tank part. I think I, had opened the kit to grab something and was like, oh, okay. And so as a joke, I I just used marker and made the face kind of the way, as best I could from the photo, the way they made that funny little face. And I brought it to Wonderfest like 6 or 7 years ago. There was an ILMer there at the time, and it might have been Lauren, and he pointed to it and he's like, "Where'd you find that?" I was like, "Oh, no, I made that." He's like, "That's not, wait, you made a replica of the joke thing that was on the wall?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Okay." Like, it was cool that he thought it was real, but what was once a sort of like silly little joke for our personal giggles, to put on the table very seriously, now is a little part of a very big world.
Oh, I got chills. It's fine. It's found its home.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of wild. It's like I didn't throw it away.
Yeah.
It kicked around my shop for a while, and now it's living where it's supposed to.
So Jason, speaking of the photo on the left side of frame,
yes,
there's a wall, a collage of photos.
Yes.
And you guys have recreated that too.
We have. Bill George was just completely integral to, he's one of the group, the four of us that put everything together.
And an ILMer.
And an ILMer. And took it upon himself to get that photo collage wall together. The people that took the photos still have the negatives. And so we just, got those scans of those negatives. And so those are directly from the original source material. Reprints, of course. But, and we tried our best. We were missing a couple, but there were so many others that we sort of just did, the collage and got the vibe generally of what it looked like. And on Saturday, it'll look like this. It might change because if you look at all the photos, they would put things over top of other things. So we kind of want to have like a little bit of a living, breathing room situation going on.
Would those negatives offer more reference for you guys?
Maybe. Yeah, I mean, the people hanging out, having fun is interspersed with shop pics. And, sometimes they're taking a photo of something they like or someone, and then on the desk next to them is something we've never seen before, and I wig out, and I'm very excited.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Well, I love that it's a peek beyond the walls of the space.
It's a little bit of humanity.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see them just relaxing. They're in their 20s, they're just having a blast, making history and magic without even really realizing it.
Oh my
which
gosh.
is part of the allure. Yeah, just the amazing humanity. And only Bill could do something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So he was really instrumental, along with Hiroshi Sumi, in just sort of bringing all of the visuals. Hiroshi has done he's done so much research into the whole space, the whole Van Nuys facility. And so when we had to extend the room, we had him do graphics, and Bill then sort of layered it and made it look, he put the Falcon on a stand, and so we had that printed backdrop. So again, a team effort, just a group of people.
Now, are there Easter eggs that you guys have put in?
There are Easter eggs everywhere.
Oh, okay.
Our friend Tyler had just a ton of Floqual bottles, and without telling us until yesterday, there are little labels that have our names. This is Bill George's, and Bill actually opened his and used it and sort of weathered things in the shop. I found mine. Mine's a gray color, of course, but it was really just touching, like just a lovely little bit of humanity from 2026. And this is Sumi Silver, so Hiroshi has his color. And Hiroshi sent the Mecha Godzilla that was riding on the Dijkstra Flex in some shots and would be placed around the shop. These are very hard to find, and he was happy to lend it to us. So just, another Easter egg. Someone will see that and they'll know what it is. Other people will just be thinking, oh, what a fun little toy.
And you guys might be moving that around the space throughout the weekend.
He'll
just to
travel.
have it. Yeah.
He'll go from desk to desk or something. Yeah.
Well, as much of it's also a conversation with the past, you have some actual conversation happening with the audio.
Yes. Okay. So we decided that, everyone, maybe not everyone, but many people know that they listen to Fleetwood Mac Rumors because it was out in the summer of '76. And there's just some songs that everyone freely associates with the model shop. And so I initially thought, okay, let's get some music, let's put it together, and we can pipe it very sort of low key in the room and just sort of add to the immersion. And then I thought, oh, wouldn't it be cool if we found some like radio broadcasts? And of course, like model making, there's radio aficionados that have saved broadcasts from 1976 Los Angeles, and you can find them on YouTube. So I grabbed little bits of that. I made a 2-hour video where I stitched some songs and some news reports, some weather, some advertisements, for local shops, and they're saying, in the Valley, Altadena, like it's really cool. I think it's going to add to it. And then I added shop sounds through the whole thing. So you're standing here, you're listening to a song, and then you're hearing some hammering in the distance, or maybe a bandsaw kicks in. But the best, Bill got Rose, who was Lucas's assistant, and Lorne to do intercom announcements. And they both remember doing them. And when I've interspersed them and spaced them out over the 2-hour period, hoping that when someone comes in, they're here for about 15, 20 minutes, they'll hear one or two. I'll have the music cut out so you can pay attention. You're like, oh my God. And then people coming in throughout the day hopefully can hear different ones. So Rose is talking about, everyone come to editorial for dailies in 5 minutes. Time cards are due. She said she used to have like a little bit of a fun, sultry voice and asked John Dykstra to come to the Moviola. She recreated that. Lorne, of course, is saying, hey, there's beer and chips in the cooling tub. It's hot outside. We're all out front. Come on down. And then he's got a couple other ones that are very funny and obtuse and Lorne Peterson, style. So I think that, and again, only Bill could pull that off. And they got what we were doing immediately, and we're really happy to add to that. So that was kind of a late addition. I think we thought about that maybe a week or two ago, and it just happened.
John Ireland, please come out to the stage. Is there anyone here who actually can speak Hindi or Urdu?
Okay, everybody, there is going to be dailies in 5 minutes. Everybody be there in 5 minutes.
Brian.
Norm.
Great to meet you here. In the past, in 1976, you were another organizer for this project. Tell me a little about the creeping scope of this and what it took to actually gather the resources to put this together.
This is the project of a lifetime for all of us. And I think we're all actually quite emotional about it. And it started off as a crazy idea, like, hey, can we recreate this shot, the legendary shot of the X-Wings? And sure, we could do it. Let's do a corner. That wasn't good enough for Quincy. It wasn't good enough for Jason or Bill, who's been working with us on this. And we went for a full 20 by 20 immersive experience. And I couldn't be happier with what we were able to pull off.
Can you give me a sense of how many people contributed to this, and just financially, parts, like what the village took to put this together?
This redefines a village, especially in the model community, because everybody's like, very insular, where they're working on their individual project. This took at least 40 people, if not more, both from volunteering their time, volunteering their backs to help us move all of this, to engineer all of this, to build this. And then, of course, there's the financial component to be able to afford it. And this was a community effort. It was all contributions from the model building community and also from the ILM community. Those who have been in and out of ILM over the years participated and helped us raise money. And we couldn't be more appreciative of the effort.
Yeah, I feel so lucky that we're here at Wonderfest this year, where it's unveiled, where the people who built the models are here to be a part of the picture.
Yes.
But I imagine you want to have a life for this beyond the show.
Yes. I mean, this is the 50th anniversary of the model shop. Next year will be the 50th anniversary of Star Wars. So these things are really important to us. I think it's important to a much broader community of people who are interested in the motion picture business and the art behind that business. And we would love for it to live on. We've talked to 3 parties. I've sent them a lot of information. And I hope once they see this completed environment, they will be exceptionally enthusiastic and want to help us find a future home for it. Would love to have the public and people who are interested in movie making see where the art of these movies were crafted. And this is a real tribute to the artists that actually made what you see on screen happen.
One of the creative constraints was the space of this room.
20 by 20.
20 by 20.
Yes.
And if at some point this does find a life into a space without a physical constraint, would there be consideration in finishing the other half and bringing that Millennium Falcon out of the backdrop and into a physical space?
I think there was a recent Falcon for sale if that buyer were interested in and expanding their immersive collection and environment, this would be a great way to do it and build out the rest of the shop. Absolutely.
Where can people find information, or who can they reach out to?
They can reach out to myself or Jason Eaton on Facebook. We're easily tracked down, especially we've created a Facebook page, Van Nuys 1976, 2026. And just reach out to us on the DMs. We'd be happy to discuss.
Brian, thank you so much. Congratulations to you, Quincy, Jason, of course, and all the other model makers who built this. What a standout project. We'll be doing more interviews with folks about their specific builds, but what an unveil.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.